Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our sneak peek program for Living Legends, Masters of Wildlife Art. This is a little sneak peek into this exhibit before it officially opens to the public tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock a.m. So we invite you to come back. I am Lisa Simmons, Associate Curator of Education and Outreach here at the National Museum of Wildlife Art. And we are so pleased and excited to welcome Master Sculptor T.D. Kelsey as our guest speaker today. Yes, of course. Today's program is a casual conversational format. Our Associate Curator of Art, Tammy Hannawalt, will be asking T.D. questions about his inspirations, artistic process, world travels, and more. The Living Legends exhibit is dedicated to recognizing the strong tradition of contemporary wildlife art that continues to thrive today. The artists in this show have been key players in the history of this museum and in elevating the status of wildlife art in America and beyond. Each of the 39 artists have played a very important role over the years of the museum's development. The exhibition honors not only this relationship, but also highlights each artist's ability to capture the essence of the museum's mission to collect the highest quality wildlife art and enrich and inspire appreciation and knowledge of humanity's relationship with nature. We are grateful to our generous exhibition sponsors, Marnie Peterson Coin and Tasso Coin, Betsy and Thomas Granger, and Tally and Bill Mingst. T.D. Kelsey has been a long-time friend of the museum. When the museum moved to this location in 1994 from the Jackson Town Square, T.D. Kelsey's large-scale outdoor bison sculpture, Change of Seasons, that graces the upper parking lot area, was commissioned to mark the occasion. 4 of his bronze sculptures are part of the museum's permanent collection. 3 are large-scale. T.D. grew up on a ranch near Bozeman, Montana. He rodeoed for many years in rough stock events and team roping. Following that, he trained and showed cutting horses for several years. He worked as a commercial pilot for United Airlines until 1979 when he resigned to devote himself to his art full-time. His interest in and promotion of Texas longhorn cattle, maintenance of a wild horse herd on his ranch, passion for Africa and its wildlife, and concern for the conservation of wildlife worldwide have inspired many of his works. An avid traveler, I'm almost done, sorry. An avid traveler, he has visited many countries on every continent except Antarctica, drawing and sculpting people and animals from all corners of the world in addition to his Western subjects. He is known for his intense impressionistic sculptures that capture the spirit of his subjects. Kelsey's work is found in private and public collections worldwide. He is an emeritus member of the Cowboy Artists of America and fellow member of the National Sculpture Society. T.D. has sculptures on permanent display at the Pro Rodeo Hall of Champions Museum, the C.M. Russell Museum, the National Museum of Wildlife Art, Owensboro Museum, St. Louis Zoo, the Thomas Gilcrease Museum, the Old Town Museum in Elk City, Oklahoma, the Briscoe Museum, the Buffalo Bill Historical Center, and 2 museums in Spain. So thank you so much. We're so glad you're here.
Oh,
welcome, TD, and thank you, Tammy.
Well, we have some more to say about yourself, I'm sure. We have a few photographs that we pulled from your website to go through here. But can you talk a little bit about how you became an artist and who was pivotal in inspiring you to become an artist?
Well, the last question is easy. That's my late wife. And had it not been for her, I would never have been an artist. I really don't know what I would have been. Worthless, probably, I'm sure. But it was because of her that I'm an artist. And I grew up loving art. I used to draw and sketch a lot when I was a kid, but it was really frowned upon by my parents, and not because they didn't like art. We had a ranch, had a lot of work to do. So if my dad walked by and see me drawing or some play or something, put that away. You got a lot of work to do, And it was interesting looking back because I was in the country of Will James and Charlie Russell.
Yeah.
They're, I think, fantastic artists.
Yeah.
But it was a practical thing. So I was kind of behind the door, so to speak. My wife, okay, come out of the closet. It's okay to be an artist. So it was her. Without her, I would not have been an artist.
Great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know that work ethic kind of thing.
Tammy,
Yeah.
TD, can you speak a little bit more loudly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
His wife inspired him.
Yeah.
If you didn't get
Yeah.
that. Okay. Good. Great. There you are, or
Oh.
a bronc rider. Okay.
That was quite a while ago.
I thought it was a great picture. You've had a lot of experiences in your lifetime.
I have. I've been very, very lucky. Very lucky. And it's mostly because of the art. Art is just introduced to just so many facets in life. Both artists, collectors, institutions. I mean, it just opened doors to everything. Everything. So I'm very, very, very lucky.
How do you think that your influences, this is a good one too,
Yeah, that's in Brazil.
in Brazil?
In the forest of Brazil. That was kind of a little survival thing. That little monkey, I don't know where his mama was. She wasn't there. But for some reason he latched onto me and wouldn't leave. I mean, just for 2 days he would not leave. And he got kind of a little more used to me and stuff, and then he got to where he started teasing me. He'd like look at me and he'd look at a limb and he'd reach for a limb to go. So he'd like he was going to leave. So after a while, I said, okay, fine, you go ahead and go, and I'll just go on. Well, I'd get 10 feet away, and he'd just start screeching and screeching. And that's how it stopped, and he'd come around and jump up on me again. Finally, some people there, some locals, come and got a hold of him. And I tell you, it was a little difficult. Because when I left, he just cried and cried.
Oh.
A little teeny monkey,
Yeah, yeah. Oh. Did you do a sculpture of him?
No,
No.
I haven't.
Here are some. These, I think we can see how they've influenced your art.
No,
That's a different
If
kind.
you go back that picture, I think that's an interesting
Yeah.
story behind that, because I was in Zimbabwe in the mid '80s, '84 or '85, something like that. My first trip to Africa. That's the first time I ever saw a sable. We didn't really have any zoos around when I was growing up, and I was fascinated with them. And I wanted to do a sculpture right then, but I couldn't figure out what to do with these horns. If you do one, the horns are going to take your eyes right off the sculpture, and they're going to be dangerous. Poke some poor little kid walking by the eye or something. So it was 15 years later. I'm in Botswana, and this friend of mine and he's a guide over there. We were just laying and staying up on some baboons and stuff, and these two sable bulls came out. And we turned to look at them, and that's a picture I took. Those
That's a
two
great
guys
picture.
solved the problem with their two horns meeting. Now, when I did the sculpture, I turned their bodies opposing, so they traveled different directions, but I turned their heads, and they solved the whole problem right there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I didn't see to find that one.
That's
That's-
an ibex.
This is an ibex.
Yeah, from Spain. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
But big horns.
big horns. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And these are some
That's
of.
a chimpanzee from Gabon. I spent about a month in Gabon,
Oh, okay.
and there was one of these females in this I don't call them tribe of chimps, was humanized. I think she'd been raised by people of South because she was fairly friendly. The rest of her group were not, but I was there for a long time, and after a while, she kind of lets you get up pretty close. That's probably, I don't know, probably Tanzania,
Tanzania.
would be my guess. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
And there you are with.
That's that's in Kazakhstan. One of the stands.
And you're wearing the brace on your neck.
Yeah, I took a header off a bicycle, a road bicycle, and broke my neck.
Oh.
So that was, I don't know,
And
2
you were
months
climbing after breaking your neck.
after. Well, that was a little while after. I was in one of those. Oh, that's a young grizzly bear that's looking into my window at my studio in Cody. Yeah, he was there for a month. probably. Quite friendly, and you know, just hung around all the time. And I always look when I go out to go for a hike or something. I get up on the hill, I look back, and a lot of times he's laying in the yard. I just didn't see him. Just later, he was just a young guy. You know, he's trying to make a living. Is all he is. They come and they moved him somewhere else because they thought, you know, that maybe he's getting too peopleized. So to speak.
Yeah. And you've done some grizzly bears in your sculptures.
That's a sorry sculpture by the way.
Oh,
His paws are way too big for the bear.
okay.
I've taken it off the market.
Oh, okay. Sorry, but
That's all right.
well, we can talk about horses then.
Yeah.
You've
horses.
have quite a few sculptures of horses.
I do. Yeah, I do a lot of horses. Horses, probably. Well, not probably. They're my favorite subject matter. Yeah, they are. I don't. Every time I see an animal, it becomes my favorite. And the next time I say, no, that's my favorite. You know, so the horses throughout my life have been pretty much top.
Because you work closely with them.
Yeah, because I was raised with them so for all my life. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite horse that you've sculpted?
Yeah, that's him right there. That horse on the right. Yeah, he was. I did everything on that horse. I mean, I just everything. And the last several years of his life, until I let him go, turned him out, we ran wild horses. A friend of mine maintained, ended up being about 50 head that we actually owned from the government before the Wild Horse Anti Act went into effect. And we maintained the numbers at a certain level, and we'd catch them, you know, we tried to every January, February.
Oh.
And that was out for 25 years. That's all I thought about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like a
this one's
maniac
pretty.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But he was a good horse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a pretty, yeah.
Yeah, that's working on a monument of a horse called Commotion. He was a great bucking horse owned by Butler family. He's a world champion bucking horse, I think 7 times. And the year that he was retired at the national finals rodeo, they turned him loose in the arena, you know, and he strutted and pranced around, his head thrown back. And he had, I think it was 7 of his progeny bucking at the national finals that year. And it's a big honor for a horse to be invited there. That horse that you showed a sculpture of here quite a while ago, with his head thrown up.
Yep. That one?
That's him.
That
was him that night.
That is. Oh, okay.
Full of himself. And he was full of himself. I mean, he knew everybody's looking at him. Yeah, he's quite a horse.
That's great.
Yeah, and he's still alive, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, they're still raising colts out of him.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Great. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the artwork itself.
Okay.
So, how you do the artwork? It's sort of like you've got layers of clay almost on the art piece as sort of an impressionistic style.
I do now more so.
Okay.
I'm still, in my opinion, I'm still not loose enough. Now I say that when you get with artists, you're always visiting and stuff, and I'm always saying, well, one day I'm just going to rough in a piece of cast. And they said, Jesus, that's what you do now. You know, if you do it any worse, it'll be abstract, it won't be art. But I work building up. You know, I'm not a good carver, so I work by adding on rather than taking away.
That makes sense.
So that's why you might see some layers, you know, through the texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A question that we had was, do you have a favorite part of your process?
The one I just talked about.
Okay.
Yeah. Roughing in a piece.
Roughing in a piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a favorite part. I like to just stop there, but of course you don't, you know. I've only given a few workshops, and they've all been at the Brook Green Gardens in South Carolina. But like I tell my students there, not students, I mean they're artists like I am, when you work on a sculpture, to me, and you get to a point that said, that's just what I was trying to get. I'll just tweak a little. Tweak. The death is so. Yeah, tweaking ruins it. So if you like it, walk away.
Yeah,
Just walk
that's
away.
a good, that's good advice. That's great advice.
I wish I
Excellent.
could take it. I don't.
We were talking about this out in the gallery. What foundry did you work with, I guess, now since the fire?
Yeah.
And where you have your studios and your studio space.
Okay. I started out at Foundry in Loveland, with Charles Fritz and Bun and all those guys. We all started together with Bob Zimmerman in the late 60s, early 70s.
Mm.
I cast there for several years. And then the last 27 years, I've been with the Foundry in Billings, Montana. And it just burned down last year. And the guy is going to be okay. He had some insurance. I didn't have any. And I lost a lot of work. I think I was just there. I spent 2 days there just before I drove to here. We're still in the process of trying to figure out what I have and what I don't have really. And we dug a couple pieces out that the metal is compromised. I just destroyed them. They just got a little too hot. We're close to getting that settled and figured out what I have, don't have. But I lost, I think, most of 31 different sculptures. They weren't finished yet. And stuff happens. You just start over. I like to sculpt, so that's a good thing.
That's a great attitude. That would
Studio space.
studio space. Yeah.
I have a studio in Wyoming, West Dakota, up to South Fork. It's a small studio. It's due to the generosity and the gift of a collector friend. But I have a studio that's hooked onto the house in Texas, where I have a ranch now in West Texas. And it's about this size right here. Maybe not quite this big, 24 by 40, which is about like this, I guess. And I love that. I just love that studio. And then in a 60 by 80 building that's hooked onto the horse barn, just 30 yards from the house, I have a monument studio. That's why I do the big pieces. And that it's just all, metal building, concrete floor, and you don't have to worry about it. You can well do whatever you want in there.
Okay. Yeah. So different space for that.
I
Right.
do big pieces there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I was going to ask you about the idea of movement. Movement in your. How do you create that movement? And thinking about this piece in particular, which is Buffalo Jump.
Well, I think, there's about 4 or 5 things that are important in a sculpture. Movement is one of them. I don't care if they're standing there, actually not doing anything physically, but they still have to be moving in the piece. And then there's action movement. And it's a puzzler sometimes. This piece, commissioned by the Museum of Coding, I was trying to get across the panic that these buffalo must have felt. Because they didn't jump off there because they wanted to. They was pushed off, because it's necessary for food. And they had all these buffalo behind pushing them. But when they finally got shoved off the edge, I just tried to get across by the look of their eyes and their legs spread apart and everything. Just a feeling of the terror that they probably felt coming off that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the seed, sometimes you don't.
That's just another viewpoint of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just another view of the same.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, yeah. How difficult is it for an artist to work large scale? And are you thinking
The older
of?
you get, the harder it is.
I was going to say, are you thinking of doing any more?
I am.
And
In fact, I've got one I've got to start working on right away. It'll be about 18 feet, 15, 18 feet tall. We haven't really decided how tall we want it. But I tell you, other than just physically running up down ladders and stuff, it's hard. The hardest part is seeing it. You just can't get far enough where you can see it.
Yeah.
So you do every trick in the book. I got big mirrors that I got from the dancing studio on the walls. I have opposing mirrors that maybe this one goes that one back, maybe 4 times, which reduces it and expands the distance 4 times, 8 times actually, and that helps. I mean, you do all kinds of stuff. You look at stuff backwards through binoculars. You turn binoculars and stuff. So you do that. You want to look at the sculpture. There's a binocular going backwards. Just whatever it takes. But that's the hardest part, I think, is get far enough away from it to see it. I don't point up, so it's a lot of them differ from the study, and a lot of times we need to. But that's probably the most difficult way. You can get around the physical parts, but the most difficult and the most important part is you just can't see it.
Yeah.
Until you get out there with Mother Nature, and she tries to swallow it up and does a really good job at it. But you get far enough away, oh, geez, what was I thinking? Because the silhouette is not like it should have been.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This.
That's a 1 1/4 life. That's just the clay of a sculpture I did for the St. Louis Zoo. I did 4 or 5 of them, I think. For the zoo, there now was just one of them. That's actually it's a northern grant from Ethiopia, and the zoo people. We argued for 2 months about the birds. Because they wanted oxpeckers, the buffalo birds.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never in my life seen an oxpecker on a gazelle, ever. I've seen them on other antelope, impalas especially, they like them. But I've never seen one on a grant, and I don't know why. So, but these little, the little guys, they're a swallowtail, scissor fork. I'll think of the name of them in a minute. Beautiful little birds. They ride on them all the time, and they jump off and get the bugs. They don't eat it. I've never seen them working on trying to find a tick or anything on antelope, but what they get out of it, the grant, or they'll even ride on the buzzard bird. You see them on the back of another bird riding around, and when they see grass or stuff, I'll just hop off and grab them.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't. They're on the animal, just for the disturbance the animal's going to make as he's walking through the grass. Or if you're riding along in a Land Rover or just walking, a lot of times they'll fly alongside of you. Yeah, and then you can may catch a grasshopper or something, throw it there and they'll grab it. Yeah.
Wow. The sculpture that you have in Living Legends is Savannah Lords, and that's about an animal from Africa.
Yes.
You've done a lot of animals from Africa and from North America?
And from all over.
From all over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do all Western stuff. But more and more it's become more and more wildlife. It's about half and half now, maybe more wildlife. Not last, for sure, the last 4 or 5 years.
Has it kind of expanded because of your interest in
Probably.
African animals?
Yeah.
You started out more with North American.
North America. And Africa, to me, is just so fascinating. The people and the animals, the cultures, not just the animals, but the cultures.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it's kind of a sad place. I don't know how many trips I've been there. Somebody said over 200, but I'll go sometimes for a couple of weeks, sometimes for a couple of months. Those are both giant eland.
Yeah.
And the population's increase is just double figures, which is hard on the wildlife.
Yeah.
I think that habitat encroachment is probably the single most detrimental effect on wildlife populations.
Right.
Just more people, they need more land.
Right.
Yeah.
How are we going to find the space for both?
Yeah. Difficult. Very, very difficult.
Yeah. These are so pretty that I
Yeah.
just...
That's it. Yes, that Lord.
It's the one that you're all going to get to peek at, right? What do you think that's changed the most in your artwork over time?
Hopefully, better. But I've gotten a lot looser, more impressionistic. I think I would like to try to get to a point where they're recognizable, of course. I don't want to be abstract. Artists have to be historians. Well, we are historians, so you don't really want to do something wrong, because if you're a historian, you can't do it wrong. You can't be wrong. You foul up history, so you have to be correct. That doesn't mean you can't stretch it a little bit, and I do that some. But I would like to get to a point to where the art is recognizable, but it leaves a lot of room for the observer's imagination to take over and let him fill in the blanks. Make it his story. I think it becomes more interesting. That's just me personally, but
Yeah, that makes
I think it
a lot of
might
sense.
become more interesting.
Yeah. Then what are you currently working on?
Well,
And besides the 31 sculptures that you lost?
yeah, well, they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just a couple small table-sized pieces, and I have a show coming up at the Calgary Stampede next year. It's the 100th anniversary of when C.M. Russell was up there for. He had a show, and he sold, was it 23 paintings in that one day during the Calgary Stampede? Oh, yeah, it's amazing. This is the 100th anniversary of that. So, and I'm not the only artist. I think there are 19 artists they've invited. So I'm working on pieces for that. And then I have a couple of monuments coming up.
Couple monuments, big ones.
Yeah, big ones.
Okay. I guess that was my last question was
Yeah, one of the
what
monuments.
the plans for the coming year.
yeah. As long as I can keep climbing the ladder, I'm going to keep doing it. But one of the monuments is a guy called me. I've known him for a long time. A really, really nice man. He's done everything in the world. He wanted me to do a sculpture of Icarus for an airport. And I said, no, I don't know. Am I wrong? I thought Icarus crashed and burned. Well, yeah, let's try to come up with the more positive side of it.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, I look forward to seeing something about that.
Try to find a positive. And it was very positive. I mean, that's why he got, according to the story, that's why he got so close to the sun. He was so excited about just the act of flying that he just couldn't stand it. So
Right.
that's a good thing, enthusiasm. Nothing wrong with that.
Just maybe go one step short of flying into the sun, right?
Yeah, just stuff like that.
Well, that's all of the questions I have for you, and we're
Okay.
gonna all go into the exhibit where your elans are.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of art.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an honor to be included in that. It is. It's all those guys.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a great show.
It's scary.
It's scary, you think?
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah.
I think it's great. So thank you so much
Well,
for
thank you.
We'll move
Should we,
that way.
Tammy, does anybody have any questions?
Oh, questions, I'm sorry. They might have some questions for it.
Sure. Anybody?
Do you need a deadline to get things done?
Do I what?
Do you need a deadline?
No. No, I tell you what, I create the studios. I do too many sculptures. I really do. I kind of flood my own market because I love being in the studio. I really crave. I walk in there and I get excited. Yes, ma'am.
This isn't a question so much as a statement. I could be a good example of your letting people's own imagination carry forth with your sculpture. I have one of a horse, a draft horse, and I always call it Beautiful Bob. I don't know why, and you'll say,
Oh, really?
I didn't do anything
Beautiful
called
Bob?
Beautiful Bob. It's the name of it. When I think about it, it's Handsome Harry. But
That's the name of it.
Carrie, call it that, and people say, what's the name of it? And I always say Beautiful
Good
Bob.
Bob. Can I use that? That's better than Handsome Harry. Yes, ma'am.
How do you decide what size to make a piece? Like if you want it to be a table-sized piece or larger?
Not often, but a few times the show will say, okay, you're limited to 12 by 18 by 10. So you try to stay in it. And it's difficult for me to stay small. my fingers are getting stiff and don't wiggle like they should. And so, and the bigger it is, the looser you can be, up to a certain point. Now, monuments, that really becomes a problem because if you do a sculpture this big, your palm of your hand is perfect size. But when they get really big, like that buffalo out there, our hands aren't big enough. You know, you need a palm that wide. And, you know, like, I remember George Carlson using a board sometimes for texture and stuff. Because my hand's too small. So you get a big board and push on it. Yes,
What
ma'am.
was your inspiration behind Swamp Donkey?
Oh.
So many pictures, so many photos taken.
Yeah. Well, I was in the Yukon and I spent a lot of time up there and in Alaska. I saw a lot of the moose. And I saw one come out of the water like that, and the noise, the water was just terrific. And it's hard to get a water feature in a sculpture without being corny. Bluntly, you know, it just is, because there's got to be a logical reason for the water. If they just put water in there for no reason, it's kind of like corny. So I thought, well, that's perfect for the water. But I had to drop it down to a mere trickle because it gets very noisy. Also, the water would, you know, spray out and all over the floor. So that's why you just, and you guys do a wonderful job.
Yeah, we've tried to maintain that.
This museum does the best job with that sculpture. And I've seen and get pictures from people that have them. And the one here does the best. And the guy I talked to every time I come, I can't remember his name, dang it, but he's a really nice guy. He takes care of me.
Yeah. Bob or Mark.
Bob.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Well, when that piece is outside, I think it's probably much more difficult to keep it running.
Probably.
And keep it going.
Water, contaminants
Yeah.
in water. You guys use distilled water, you told me. Use about half.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Water gets
We get
changed.
special water just for that
Special
sculpture.
loose
Yeah.
water. Yes, ma'am.
How much time do you spend doing like preliminary sketching or painting before you
I
do
don't
sculpture?
do any preliminary sketching on my sculptures.
Great.
I love to draw, and I can only think of maybe two artists. George Carlson's one of them. Richard Schmidt, probably another one, that draw enough. Very few artists draw enough. I don't draw enough, even though I love to draw. But I have found over the years that if I draw a linear sketch of a piece that I want to do, that
It's not what's in your
dummy
head.
me, I can't get my head wrapped around. Okay, it's not linear anymore. You know, there's some volume here. There needs to be some mass and some gravity to it, not just a linear thing. So I have ideas in my head, and I just kind of, they don't always turn out like that. In fact, I never do, but that's how they start.
Sure. Great.
Yeah.
What is it about horses that you connect to so much that you say they're your favorite thing to sculpt? What is it?
I know, I just love horses.
Yeah.
I was
Fair
raised
enough.
with them and was lucky enough to ride some really, really good ones. And some not so good, and I'm sure that was my fault, not theirs, you know, but I just been with them all my life, and they're beautiful, they're intelligent, they get excited. You know, like that horse that we showed about riding wild horses? He loved that. He loved it as much as I did. And every winter, about January, I'd get him up and start riding because you got to get him in good shape because they got to run long ways. He was just, I mean, he would just get pumped, excited, really get excited. Yeah, he had Rico. Oh. I used to take him and my friend Minford Beard is over the western slope of Colorado. And when we'd ride into the country where the wild horses were, I would lead him when riding. And he was, you know, because I wanted to save him. I'd have another horse, maybe a spare horse I could run on too, but he would be the best. Then after we'd run a trap run or maybe rope a couple or something, when we get done, on the way out, I'd just turn him loose, just kick him loose. And Memphis said, you're going to lose him. The best horse you've ever rode, you're going to lose him one day because he can run off with wild horses. And many times, you might not see him, maybe an 8 or 10 hour ride out. You wouldn't see him for a couple hours. Memphis said, yeah, he's gone. Rito's gone. And then Brico, he just, come on, run right to the middle of the step, the other side, just to his tail over his back. Yeah, he loved it. He really did. I just like horses.
And what was this one's name?
Rito. Pajarito Pepe was his resident name. I got him as a baby from a very, very famous horseman called, his name was Buster Welch. He worked for the King Ranch for many, many years. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So last year at Western Visions, you had a donkey that was a watercolor.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I actually contacted you about it because when I saw it, it was gone. I was like freaking out because I wanted it so badly. Are you going to be doing more watercolor? Is that just something on the side or?
The paintings?
Yeah.
No. I would love to learn to paint.
Well, it was pretty awesome.
But for right, and I will one day. In fact, this was going to be the year that I was not going to sculpture because a lot of those 31 sculptures I had were new, all new ones. They were not in any show yet. So I had like a 3 or 4 year build-up. So I shut the gate, and I never took workshops in sculpting, but I was going to in painting. Because I got a lot to learn with this much time, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the process, I would love to do that. I love to paint, I just can't. I'm a lousy painter.
No, you're not.
Well,
It was pretty
with
awesome.
workshops,
One of those cases, and then the one this year was great.
with the
Yeah.
workshops, maybe I could help a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's, I'm not giving up on that.
Good.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Any more questions?